omulabi waffe akyakumidde ku Gatonnya TV tekuseesimye okubanga okyatambula naffe wano ku TV y'omuntu wa bulijjo. Gwe n'omunaffe atanaba kusubscribinga ekyo ekiseera okola ekyo okulaba nga otambula n'okumanya nga bwe mwakitegeddeko nti wiiki eno gye tukuba amabega minisita w'ebyenjigiriza n'emizannyo Janet Kataha Museveni yafulumiza ebyava mu bigezo by'abayizi abatuula siniya eyokuna era n'atutegeeza nti abayizi ku mulundi guno bakoze bulungi nnyo ddala bogeraageranya ku bayizi abatuula omwaka oguwedde bwe yalaze nti abayizi ebitundu 99.7 bakolofayinze okuba nga bagenda mu S4 oba ne ku matendekero amalala era n'alaga nti abayizi abuweera ddala ebitundu 80 ku 100 bakolofayinga okuba nga bagenda kuweebwa kombine ezikola sayansi. Gatonnya TV no yagezezzaako okulambula ebyabadde bigenda mu maaso kyokka era n'atuukako mu masomero ag'enjawulo nga wano mu kibuga Mukono Gatonnya TV weesinzira okubaweereza tutuuseko ku masomero ag'enjawulo nga gasagambiza nga olw'ensonga nti gabadde gayisizza ddala bulungi abayizi baabwe era nga masomero agamu getuseeko ge ga Mount St Henry's High School Mukono nga lino essomero lino lyakubidde ddala wala nnyo olw'abayizi abangi okufuna mu sabjekiti ez'essalira ze baatuula. Omukulu w'essomero twayogeddeko naye Teopista Nakalembe n'atubuulira lwaki basobodde okuyita obulungi era n'atubuulira na bino ebyabaddewo. Gwe nno munnaffe atanaba kusubscribinga kyekiseera okuba nga otambula n'okumanya era nno Gatonnya TV ayongedde okunoonyereza nga asinziira mu mpapula ez'amawulire naddala olupapula olwa New Vision lwalaze amasomero mangi ddala agawera 2,000 nga gakulaga engeri gye gaakoze era nga ge tugenda okutegeezaako gaakoze gatya essomero ly'omwana wo lyakoze litya era liri mu nnamba mmeka. Kati komewo nga tubamenyeramenyera okulaba butya amasomero gano bwe gaakoze okusinziira ku kunoonyereza New Vision kwe yakoze okulaga naye nga basinzidde nnyo ku sabjekiti ez'essalira abayizi bano ze baatudde n'okulaba grade mmeka ze baafunye naddala mu A's ne B's ze tuyita AB's ne B's kubanga era obwedda abakoze obulungi kwe babalira. Kati komewo.
We are also full of thanks to our God, our faithful God, because of the results we are releasing today. From the second cohort of learners that complete Senior 4 under the revised lower secondary curriculum, that is competence-based, which we rolled out in January 2020. Related to the results, I also thank God again for the 20% increase in the total number of candidates registered for the 2025 USE exams. The nearly 73,000 additional candidates registered for 2025 UCE exams compared with 2024 last year. On the one hand, this increase in candidature could be attributed to the low absenteeism, which was recorded at 0.5%. This clearly indicates that more of our children who transitioned from primary to lower secondary level 4 years ago stayed in school to the end of the O-level cycle. However, it does leave a lot of curiosity as to whether the competence-based curriculum that we have adopted for O-level has influenced learner retention in the system at this level of education. At this early stage of implementing the competence-based curriculum, perhaps there is a lot of good effect this curriculum could be having and this needs to be empirically established. Therefore, I am glad that the National Curriculum Development Center is planning to carry out a comprehensive study next financial year, looking at the implementation and benefits of the curriculum in comparison with the previous one used at this level of education. But that notwithstanding, I must commend UNEB for being proactive and carrying out preliminary research to answer the question, as you heard this morning, to answer this question as to whether the competence-based curriculum is making a difference compared with the previous O-level curriculum, as some of you may recall. This was a question I asked last year while releasing the 2024 UCE results, as you heard Mr. Odong remind us. Therefore, when we had a briefing the other day about the 2025 UCE results, it was gratifying to know that indeed UNEB went out and interviewed teachers and head teachers, as well as learners from some 171 secondary schools regarding their perception about the benefits of this competence-based curriculum. The study findings in the report, as you heard again this morning by UNEB, were quite exciting to me. Interestingly enough, I have been reading a book called, in quotes, Tracing Uganda's Education Path from 1895 to Contemporary Times, written by a Uganda educationist by the names of Dr. Lagoro James. This educationist provides insight on the efforts made at various times, as far back as the times when the colonial governments were here in charge of Uganda as a British protectorate. Most of these efforts were carried out through policy proposals from the work of Education Policy Review Commission. Just like the report submitted in February 2025 by our Education Policy Review Commission, Dr. Lam Lagoro points out that westernized education was and still is a tool to uphold colonial structures and exploitation of Africans and the African continent, unquote. This, for me, confirmed what I had read before from another book called The National Transformation by another man called Mark Berries, who said that a worldly philosophy brings captivity, while a Christian philosophy only brings liberty. Related to the benefits that UNEB highlights in its study findings about the benefits of the competence-based curriculum, Dr. Lagoro states on page 53 in his book that, in quotes, today, Uganda's education system has accepted this revolution, where the normal secondary school curriculum emphasizes academics alongside practical skills, unquote. Dr. Lagoro further states that teachers, parents, and students alike have now realized that going to school and getting out of it without tangible practical skills, which one can use readily to improve one's livelihood, is a luxury we cannot afford and a waste of time and money, unquote. Therefore, I cannot begin to tell you how grateful I am to God today for allowing me to be part of Uganda's generation that is striving and driving a revolution in our homeland's education system today. I am forever grateful and continue to pray for NCDC, which still leads this revolution in our education system. As you may be aware, we as a government through the NCDC have also embarked on reviewing the primary school as well as the A-level curricula to have them fully aligned with a competence-based O-level curriculum. I have no doubt in my mind, therefore, that as more of our children go through this competence-based education system, they will become wholesomely liberated, and so shall Uganda, because we are witnessing a new era in our homeland. As Mark Bellis points out in this book on page 107, in order to liberate a nation, individuals must first be liberated themselves, unquote. Certainly, the 2025 UCE results, as reported by UNEB, paint a very encouraging picture. The percentages of learners reaching defined levels of competencies has improved from those of 2024 cohort of candidates. This improvement in performance is by and large attributed to the fact that teachers have adapted their teaching approaches to what competence-based instruction expects. The teacher is a facilitator of learning and not a source of learning. I trust that as we move further along implementing the competence-based curriculum, and both the chairperson and Mr. Udong needs more emphasis is a continuous assessment. How it is conducted and the timely submission of the continuous assessment score. I am glad to hear UNEB working together with NCDC and the Directorate of Education Standards that are going to intensify monitoring of implementation of continuous assessment in schools. I remember that when the 2024 UCE results were released, there was a mixed understanding of the meaning of result 1, result 2, and result 3, as you heard Mr. Dong try to explain to us, as shown on the academic transcript and certificate. Result 1, now we know, means that the candidate qualifies to receive a UCE certificate. Result 2 indicates that the candidate did not fulfill all the conditions of award of a UCE certificate. Such conditions include absence of project scores, sitting for fewer subjects, there being no continuous assessment scores. And lastly, result 3 implies that the candidate will not receive a UCE certificate because he or she achieved a competence level that is below the basic level of competence in applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real life situations in all the subjects. So, the reason we are saying that the 2025 UCE performance was better than that of 2024 is from the fact that more candidates who sat in 2025 achieved a level of competence that was either exceptional, outstanding, or satisfactory by applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real life situations. As I conclude now, I congratulate all the learners that sat the 2025 UCE exams. For the candidates that did not get a satisfactory performance, there is an opportunity for you to resit UCE exams. Your continuous assessment scores shall be carried over. Once again, I cannot thank the parents and guardians enough, because we know that you put in a lot of effort to get your children to this level of education attainment. I want to encourage you, Father, that you do not only look at your child taking the academic path. We have a fully established pathway that any learner can pursue until the highest level of qualification attainment. Finally, the selection exercise for Senior 5 shall run from the 18th to 19th of February 2026, and the first term for Senior 5 starts on Thursday, 5th March 2026. It is now my singular honor and pleasure to release the 2025 Uganda Certificate of Education examination results for public use. Congratulations, the Ministry of Education, to UNEB and to Uganda. Thank you all and God bless you.
The science.
Yeah, that's why you perform like that.
Shida Anet Ali Wapula Onesimus. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the hard work. Thank you for the sacrifice. Ensuring the whole program. I pray that come the next level, all will be done. Please, we expect you back in the mouth. Because it is bound. Okay?
Fraternity for helping me succeed in 7 years.
Metopista, omukulu w'essomero lya Mount St. Andrews High School Mukono. Twebaza Omukama olw'ebigozi byaffe ebikomyewo by'abaana baffe bonna. Era ne tumwebaza olw'abaana baffe abakoze obulungi nga abasinze okukola bafunye A's 7 mu subjects zabo 9. Era otunuulira enkola gye bakozeemu abaana bano abasinga bali bafunye obubonero wakati wa A ne C. Twebaza nnyo abazadde abakolaganira awamu naffe okulaba nga abaana baffe bakola obulungi bwe bati. Twebaza nnyo, neebaza nnyo ngaze head teacher, abasomesa bange abeerekereza mu buli kimu okulaba nga babeera n'abaana bano babayamba mu ngeri yonna eyasoboka okulaba nga bakola bulungi. Era n'ensembyayo naye nga babe bandisoose badirectors baffe abalungi abakola omulimu ogw'ettendo okulaba nga batuwagira mu byonna bye twakola. Twebaza Omukama eyatuwa obulamu obulungi, eyakuuma abaana baffe nga balamu ne basobola okutuula ebibuuzo byabwe ne babikola. Essaawa zino ng'abaana baffe bamaze senior 4, tulowooza nti tebandikomyawo, balina obusobozi obweyongerayo mu ddaala eddala. Abazadde baffe abalungi tubakubiriza. Mount St. Andrews yeesobosezza abaana bano okuyita obulungi. Tubasaba abaana baffe mbatuddize ku level eddako era tulabe nga tubakwatako basobole okufuna ekyo kye bakolerera mu bulamu bwabwe. Abazadde b'abaana abatabadde baffe era nabo tubasaba mu ngeri y'emu. Okusookera ddala kirungi omwana okuvaako naye bw'aba alina obusobozi obweyongerayo ku ddaala eddala ayongebwako abeera wa muwendo okusingawo. Abazadde tubeebaza okwerekereza byonna era tusaba mweyongere okwerekereza abaana bano mubatuwe Mount St. Andrews High School mukono tulabe nga tubagunjula okubeera nga bajoyininga beegatta ku universities eziri mu ggwanga era n'okubafunamu ebirungi bye tubasubira okubeera mu bulamu bwabwe.